Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and I'm the owner of seasonandserveblog.com. In today's video, I'm taking you on a garden tour and I'm showing you how all of our fruits and vegetables have progressed and have grown since I last showed you in July. Now that the days are a lot warmer, our plants have really started to grow and have really begun to thrive, and I'm excited to show you all of our updates. So without further ado, let's get into the video. I'll start off in the main section of our garden, and this is our raised bed, and here we're growing a bunch of different fruits and vegetables, and the first one that we have growing here is kale. Our kale has been doing really well this year. It's nice dark green, it's starting to kind of turn a little bit yellow here and there, so I think it is time to plant a succession crop of kale for a fall harvest. So I'll be doing that in the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll have some kale right before winter time, but for now this is more than enough to last us. And right next to our kale we have our red lettuce, and our red lettuce has been doing so well this year, just as it did last year. But now the plants that we have are a little bit older, so the plants are starting to get a little bit bitter, and some have even bolted. So it is now time for us to also plant some more lettuce so that we can have it for our fall harvest. Next up we have our spring onions, and these are actually some experimental spring onions that we're growing to see exactly how big they can get at this point. We actually started them from kitchen scraps that we planted out here in probably April, and now they've grown into like full grown onions, so I want to see how big these guys can get before the winter comes. And here we have our strawberry plants, and these strawberry plants have been thriving all summer long. We've been getting at least 3 to 4 ripe strawberries a day, and the strawberries are really small, but they are incredibly sweet. So we have lots more that are coming, and I'm excited to get some more before summer ends. And now we're headed into our tomato jungle, and the amount of tomato plants that we have this year is absolutely insane. So we have some tomatoes here in our raised garden beds, and our cherry tomatoes have been starting to ripen really well. They actually started ripening at the beginning of August, which is really good because all of the other tomatoes that we have right now are still green. And this year I planted cherry tomatoes, green zebra tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, and red heirloom tomatoes. So the cherry tomatoes have ripened so far, but I'm waiting for the rest to ripen, and they should be coming along in no time, as long as it stays nice and warm. And along our back trellis we have our beans, and these are beautiful green pole beans that we're growing this year, and so far we've had so many, and there's so many more flowers that are still on the plant, so I'm excited to have lots of beans throughout the summertime. And now over to our berry bushes. Here we have some beautiful raspberries, and this is actually the second flush of raspberries that we've gotten so far this year. And the raspberries have been really sweet, and we've gotten about 2 or 3 pints so far, so pretty good for this year. Now over to our blueberry plants, where blueberry plants are actually coming to an end, but so far we've gotten 4 pints of blueberries from them, and this is way better than last year, but sadly it has to come to an end. And you can see here our blueberry plants are starting to turn red for the fall. And now we'll move down to our lower garden beds and our herb garden, and I'll start off by showing you all the different herbs we have in our herb garden. And here we have some beautiful chives. This is actually the second flush of flowers that we're getting this year. And we also have some mint. The mint is almost done, but I'm going to let it go to seed because this plant did really well this year. We also have some cilantro, and the cilantro has also bolted and gone to seed, but I want to make sure to collect them this year. And of course we have our rosemary, and this plant cannot be beat. I'm pretty sure we're going to have rosemary forever, but that's okay. It is definitely one of my favorite herbs. Right next to our herbs we have a variety of zucchini, and our zucchini are surprisingly still going strong, although they are starting to slow down here in the last little bit of summer. So we have some green zucchini still coming, as well as yellow zucchini, and we also have beautiful cucumbers as well. We have a really big one right now and lots of little babies. And right next door we have some beautiful jalapeno and Phileas blue pepper plants. And unfortunately this year the pepper plants have stayed really small, and I think because it was so cold this year. So next year I've learned definitely keep the pepper plants in the greenhouse for nice big peppers. And we've had a little bit of a surprise in our lower garden bed, and we've had this huge pumpkin plant grow, and it's completely trampled our rhubarb plant, as you can see, and it has just grown incredibly big. It's even grown up behind our greenhouse and is somehow climbing the fence, which is really interesting. I've never seen that before, but I'm pretty sure that this is a pumpkin plant, if not some sort of squash, but I'm excited to see what it is, so I will definitely keep you posted on how it grows over the summertime. And now over to what we call the tomato graveyard. And in this area, we actually only deliberately planted 2 tomato plants, but as you can see, it is absolutely covered with tomatoes as well as some potatoes. In this area, we mostly have cherry tomato plants, and I think some seeds got in here from last year. Since it's right next to our compost, I can see how some seeds would have gotten into this area, but the tomato plants have been growing so well and I don't have the heart to take them out, so we have a little extra patch of tomatoes just in case we didn't have enough as it is. The majority of the cherry tomatoes are still green, but they are starting to ripen really quickly here, as you can see, with some red and yellow ones. And nestled in between the tomatoes, we have some potato plants, and you can see one sticking out of the ground right here. The potatoes should be ready for harvest in the next couple weeks because the leaves are starting to turn from a dark green to a light green color, and I can't wait to show you guys the potatoes when we pull them out of the ground, so stay tuned for that. And now let's go into the greenhouse and see what's growing inside. First up, we have our tomatillos, and I only planted 3 tomatillo plants, but they managed to grow all the way to the top of the greenhouse. I can't believe how many we have. If you look through, you can see a ton, and they're almost ready for harvest. They just have to dry out a little bit more, and they should be good to go. And we also have some beautiful eggplants that are growing, and I never grew eggplants before, and I think in my last video I kind of mixed up the plants, but as you can see, this is clearly an eggplant, and these are growing at least half an inch every day, which is pretty amazing, and there's lots more flowers still coming, so I'll keep you posted on the eggplants. And now on to our fall garden, and as you can see here, we have lots of corn growing and lots of squash. Now this is the corn that I planted in the front of our house in this fall garden bed, and it didn't really get a lot of sunlight this year, but now that it's gotten at least a little bit warmer, the plants have been starting to grow really big, and they're about 1.5 meters tall so far, which is pretty amazing. They also have the little seeds out so that they are pollinating each other, and you can definitely tell because the little sprouts of the corn have been coming out on these plants. I also planted some corn in the backyard, and as you can see, we have actual ears of corn that are growing, and they look so beautiful. They're almost ready to harvest. They are on the small side, but I'm curious to see how they will taste. And along with our fall crops, we have some apples, and this is actually from our neighbor's tree, but we do have a branch of 4 beautiful apples growing in our backyard. So along with the rest of the fall stuff, I thought I'd show you these beautiful apples. And finally, in our fall garden bed, we have our beautiful pumpkins, and they are growing dark orange, yellow, green. It's really interesting. I'm not sure why they're growing in all these different colors because I did plant them from the same seed, but there are lots of pumpkins that are growing, and there's lots of little babies that are coming in as well. So I'm excited for these, especially for the fall, to decorate the house with and also to eat. And that is it for our August garden tour. I hope that you enjoyed seeing what was in our garden today and how it has progressed from the last time I showed you our garden in July. If you missed that video, head over to my garden playlist on my YouTube channel to check out earlier gardening videos from this year to see how I started these gardens to how it progressed to what it is today. Also, make sure to go to my Instagram and follow me there for some behind the scenes tours and sneak peeks of our garden before I make these videos. So I hope you liked today's video. If you did, make sure that you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel by clicking the red subscribe button below. I love posting gardening videos like this, but I also make seasonal recipes using what I grow in my garden as well. So if you're interested in cooking and recipes, definitely hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.